What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about NIU technologies today. This one comes to us at the request of Mobin or Moben. I think it's Mobin though. I like NIU, man. I have been involved with this thing for a while. I actually don't own any at the moment. I sold some back when it was worth like 435, something like that, and then I've just been waiting. This was actually not like the last time that it went up there, but like back over here, back in June. Yeah, I think that's whenever I sold it. It might have been. I think it was June. I don't think it was May. But I think NIU has great things in store for it. I definitely think that this all-time high might not be its all-time high forever, though it might be like some time before we see it, sometime being like a year, 2 years, maybe 5 years, maybe more. Who knows? It could be less time than that. This thing does like to move up pretty fast. Let's see, from a low to a high point, that was almost about a year, just under a year. So it could when it decides to really turn up, it could take about a year. But we were at higher prices there, so it might take longer than that. I would feel safe in saying that it'll take longer than a year, maybe even 2 years to get back above those prices. Though again, whenever it likes to move, it does like to kind of move pretty quickly. You can see that here whenever it moves up. Same thing to the downside. But right now, we had a big old downtrend, man, and now we're in this like sideways phase. I would think that it's accumulation. We do have higher low after higher low, just barely, but you have a higher low here, higher low there, all barely. This one here, a little bit more dramatic, and then that one there slightly. This one here is slightly above that one there. We did have a gap down, but not a whole lot of volume on the downside. In fact, you can see that the last significant volume spike that we had was on this week here, coming off of the all-time lows. That to me is encouraging. I've drawn fibs on this before. And Mobbin, I'll get to your question too, man, on what you were asking, but I don't really like this fib. So the fib that I've drawn, like that I do like more, is this one, the top that like sent us down. This was the last high. I feel like we respect this fib a little bit more. You can see we got held down by the 618. We've been held down by the 382 for a while, finding support on the 236. We are below it now though, which is not a good look, to be completely fair. Could we come down? Could we break below this low, see new all-time lows? It is possible. At the moment, we have a market cap of, what is it? 283 million. That is a low market cap, but this thing definitely could go lower if it wanted to. What I like about NIU, man, is they have a headquarters, I'm pretty sure, unless they've closed them down, but I'm pretty sure they have a headquarters in every single continent except for Antarctica, for the obvious reasons. The aliens do not need electric scooters, man. And that's what NIU Technologies is, by the way. It's an electric scooter company. They make mopeds and bikes and stuff like that. Not like the e-scooters that you see around the cities, like actual like mopeds. Like that's what I mean by scooters. So anyways, Mobbin, you were asking what I think about it after the earnings, and I don't know what to think about it, man. The last two earnings have been gray. They haven't come out with their estimates. They just give their standard like reports or whatever. And let's see here. I mean, if it's green here, yeah. Wait. Let me see. Can you be? I guess it's bad, right? It's not good earnings because you got a negative, but not really that bad, right? It's not really that bad. We've seen worse before, but I don't know, man. The revenue, $114 million. That's nice, especially on a asset that has a market cap that's just like twice that, right? I don't know. I don't know what to make of it, man. I mean, look at that. Reported revenue, 60 million here. This revenue was 114 million. That was a lot more, right? A little bit less than what we've reported, 88. That's the most that we've seen. Let's see here. In quite some time, since November of 2022. So since Q4 of 20, is that Q4? Would that be Q3's earnings reported in Q4? I think that's how it works. I'm not 100% sure. But it's regardless, it is the most revenue that we've reported in quite some time, by a large factor too. So I think if anything, it might be good, but I don't know, man. I don't really base my decisions off of earnings too much. I more base it off of TA, and what we have is just another higher low. It is a slightly higher low, compared to this one here. It is slightly higher, but it is a higher low. You can see it on a monthly basis, right? It's a little bit more obvious. But with that being said, we have 16 days and 16 hours left in this month, and this is a pretty bearish month. It's one of the more bearish months we've seen since February of this year, and that just promoted further downside. If we go lower than this, where could we go? Let's see. We're at that, man, we're right in that sweet zone where it's nice to buy. We have found support here the last few times. Hard to say, man. We could go to $3.10. We might go to $2.84 or somewhere in between the 786 or 886. I really wouldn't expect that we'd break below that level, but we might just as likely just bounce from here and go up. And if we were to go up, I would expect that we break this high. If we break this high, we're going to probably test this high up here. Could we come back down and form some kind of like an ascending triangle, with like a flat base up here? Maybe. Could we just break through it? Maybe. Time will tell. It'll be easier to tell when we get up there. But let's look at the RSI. Let's look at some of the indicators and do some TA on this thing instead of just speculating. Man, RSI on the monthly is weak, but it's showing like it wants to, this is technical bullish divergence right here. You've got a low and a lower low, and you are up, but it's not confirmed yet. We haven't closed the month. We have over half a month left to go, so a little bit of time there. This month could be green. We could have a big wick like we did over here. We could go lower. We could absolutely go lower. Let's look at the weekly and see. Weekly time frame on the RSI does look a little bit more weak, but it is kind of neutral. Kind of neutral. I would think that this wants to come lower, which would mean that the price would want to come lower too. But again, let's see. This week isn't over. We do have 3 days left in this week. If we were, man, looking at this here, actually, I wonder. Yeah, look at that, right? So the crux this week actually started like right here where this point is. If this week was to close green, we'd actually look like we're bouncing off of this line. And we have 4 days left in this week, actually. 3 days, 16 hours. We have 4 days left in this week, and we're only down 5.72%, which for most stocks, that's a lot, don't get me wrong. But, this thing can move 20%, 15%, 7% in a week, no problem. So with a weight to the downside. So could this thing go up? I think so. We do have a gap right here, too, back at like $3.65, 67 cents, something like that. Yeah, let's see. $3.67, yeah. So if we went up and filled that gap, at least that would be expected. But maybe we go down first. I don't know. Let's see. Let's look on the daily and just see here. That was, this was a pretty big drop, but there's not a whole lot of volume, man. Really, not a lot of volume. So I don't know what to make of that. I'm not too worried about it, though. It could turn into more worrisome kind of price action soon. Let's see. Let's look here. You are at oversold zones right now. You do have a lower low. It is bearish convergence. Pretty neutral looking RSI, but you are in the weaker points of your RSI. It looks like you like to bounce off of this range. You could get a bounce. You might go a little bit lower and then bounce. But if you went a little bit lower, I think you'd break this higher low structure that you're maintaining, and that would not be good. You might have already broken it on a daily perspective, but on the monthly perspective, it looks like you're holding it still. So if you were to go lower than this, that would not be good. That to me would mean that you're probably going to see all-time lows, or at least come back near these levels. Drop like a whole dollar or so from here, a little bit less than $1. But that might not happen. You are in an area where you like to bounce. Long-term RSI, let's see what you look like. Not too healthy looking. Yeah, I don't know, man. This long-term RSI is looking kind of bad, gotta say. Lower lows, in the long term is not a good thing. After having this like topping range, you should have broken out of it, but you didn't. I don't know, though. I don't know. It might not all be over. Let's look at the 1 hour and just see. You do have bullish divergence on the 1 hour. You do have bullish divergence, and that would be good at least to close this gap here. So there is hope in the more immediate terms. The 15-minute also looks kind of good, gotta say. Bullish divergence on there as well. You had a lot of volume on the 15-minute, but again, it's really not that much volume, right? But it is some of the most volume that you've seen in the last like couple weeks at least, right? Man, in a while on the 15-minute, yeah, since this like topping area over here back in June. So I don't know, man. This might be done going down. My bias, my intuition would tell me that it probably goes up from here. But the technical side, the charts, it's hard to say. I would say that it is hard to say. This would be a conventional area for NIU to bottom out. That much I think is true. But we're also really close to an area that could be very bad for NIU to continue to go down. Bouncing off the 1414, that's a good look. Get above this 886, man. Get above $3.73. Really start forming higher highs. That's what you need to do, but that's ways away. If I was to buy NIU, this would be the place to buy it, but I've got my eyes on other things at the moment. I was planning on buying down here, but it's gonna have to take off without me, man. And if this thing does take off, I would expect. Let's see, I would expect from top. Man, this is not work. It's not cooperating. I'm sorry. Let's see, top to bottom. That would be, yeah, man, you rejected that 618, but you're down here at the 0.069. That's okay. If we break above the 618 and we were to break this high here, you could see a move that takes us to $7, $9 in the course of, like, something like this. It took, let's see, how long did that take? That took from there to the top. That took about 2 months. So sometime, maybe in October, you could see prices above $7. Maybe even, at least by the end of the year. I think that is possible. You want to negate that. It would not take much. Break below these lows here. Really break below like $3.22, 23 cents. That would really encourage price to the downside, I would say. And maybe then you still could go above $7 by the end of the year, but at the moment, you're precariously placed, man. You are definitely precariously placed. NIU, you need to start showing some bullish moves and validate this bearish move and get, seal this gap, get back up, form some higher highs. That's really what needs to happen. I'm surprised that it didn't break up on this last move, but that's okay. Anyways, I think that I've said enough about this thing. I don't know if I have anything else that I'd like to add in. I do think that NIU has good potential. It is the biggest electric scooter company in the world, right? That's what I think that's what they claim to be. Let's see here, from top to bottom. This thing could go one day to a price of $121, maybe even $347. It has a low enough market cap to totally achieve those prices. 100x in this thing would put it at a $28 billion market cap, and something like that is definitely achievable for this. So is this a 100xable stock? Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but in the next like half of a decade or maybe even a decade, I think so, man. And it's I don't know, I like the company itself, man. I think electric vehicles are on the up and up, and versus like a company like Rivian where it's electric trucks, like if you're a truck owner, you're probably not going to buy an electric truck, but if you are a scooter owner, you are probably going to buy an electric scooter. They're definitely on the up and up. It's a fad. It's popular right now, so I don't know. I like it. I like it in the long term. Just maybe in the short term, it's precariously placed. I don't know. So that's all I got to say. The earnings is kind of encouraging. That is a lot of revenue reported compared to anything else that we've seen in quite some time. So yeah. Anyways, that's all I got to say. I hope you liked the video. If you do, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to see more, and take care, everybody. Bye-bye.